He's the hero. That's what Agamemnon is. He's the hero. And Aegisthus and Clytemnestra stole his opportunity for recognition. Therefore, he's the lowest. Agamemnon is next. I should cut it short. He's next because he is a great hero. He succeeded in the war and returned, but lost on some vital issue, and the vital issue is recognition. When we get his account, when we get Agamemnon's account of Achilles, that's where we get the hero. We believe Agamemnon's perception of Achilles. That's the golden age. That's the heroic age, as they call it. It's false. It's true in one way, incomplete on another. In that sense, it's false. Let's get a look at it. All right, let's take a look at it. I'm in 24 again, which is the great summary of the whole story. Agamemnon is talking to Achilles in the land of the dead, in the underworld. And Agamemnon's son, which is Agamemnon, Atreus' son, Agamemnon. He says, well, let me just summarize first, and then I'll read it. He said, as he gives this story, he's admiring everything he's saying, and you can see him admiring Achilles for what happened to him. He said, you were godlike. You were glorious. And they even fought to the death over your corpse. They respected even your dead body. Others could show their grief over your death. The word spread beyond to the sea to your mother, Thetis, and she came and mourned too, a goddess. Death was the pivotal moment. So the goddess mourns. They all wept. Even the muses sang before this death. It went on for 17 days and nights. Then they sacrificed steers and sheep. They embalmed his body. Troops passed in review, in arms. Cavalry, infantry. Then, after the fire and the funeral pyre, the fire burned out, they collected his bones and put them in a golden amphora. They mixed the bones with Patroclus, his dear friend, and nearby they gathered the bones of Antiochus. Then they did something else. They built a temple for future generations to see. They put in all kinds of trophies, king's trophies, treasures, for the great contest over his death. The funeral games, as they're called. He concludes it, you perished, but your name will never die. It lives to keep all men in mind of honor forever. Okay? That's Agamemnon. You perished, but your name will never die. It lives to keep all men in mind of honor forever. Achilles. Now, just a couple of lines of this great account. Notice what he calls him. Now, Achilles, as you know, died in combat. He died in combat. Fortunate, he calls him. Fortunate hero, son of Peleus, godlike and glorious at Troy, you died across the sea from Argos, and around you Trojans and Achaean peers fought over your corpse, and they died. A dust cloud wrought by a whirlwind hid the greatness of you slain, minding no more the mastery of horses. All that day we might have toiled in battle, had not a storm from Zeus broke it off. See, even Zeus plays a role. We carried you out of the field of war, down to the ships, bathed your comely body with warm water and scented oil. We laid you upon your long bed, and our officers wept hot tears like rain and cropped their hair. Then, hearing of it in the sea, your mother Thetis came with nereids of the gray wave, crying unearthly lamentation over the water, and trembling gripped the Achaeans right to the bone. They would have boarded their ship that night and fled, except one man's wisdom, venerable Nestor, proved counselor in the past. He stood up and spoke, "Hold fast, sons of the Achaeans, land of Argos. His mother it must be, with nymphs, her sisters, come from the sea to mourn her son in death." Whew. Veteran hearts at this, they contain their dread. While at your side the daughters of the ancient sea god wailed and wrapped ambrosial shrouding around you. Then we heard the muses sing in 9 immortal voices. No Argive there, but wept. Such a keening rose from that one muse who led the song. Now 7 days and 10, seven nights and 10, we mourned you, we mortal men, with nymphs who know no death. Before we gave you to the flame, we slaughtered long-horned steers and fat sheep on your fire, dressed by the Nereids and embalmed with honey and unguent. In the seething blaze, you turned to ash, the past, and past the pyre, the Achaeans' captains paraded in review in arms, clattering chariot teams and infantry. Like a forest fire, the flame roared on and burned your flesh away. Next day, Achilles, we picked your pale bones from the charred remains to keep in wine and oil. Golden amphora your mother gave for this, Hephaestus' work, a gift from Dionysius. In that vase, Achilles, hero, lay your pale bones mixed with mild Patroclus' bones, who died before you. And nearby lie the bones of Antilochus, the one you cared for most of all the companions after Patroclus. We of the old army, we who were spearmen, heaped a tomb for these upon a foreland over Hellene's waters. Right? We heaped a tomb for those upon the foreland over Hellene's waters, to mark against the sky for voyagers in this generation and those to come, a temple. Your mother sought from the gods magnificent trophies and set them down. Right? For the funeral games after the death of kings, when you yourself contended, you've seen athletes clinch their belts when trophies went on view, but these things would have made you stare. The treasures Thetis on her silver-slippered feet brought to your games, for the gods held you dear. You perished, but your name will never die. It lives to keep all men in mind of honor forever. So now look here. Look at the way the book starts. Sing in me, muse, and through me tell the story of that man skilled in all ways of contending, Odysseus. The whole story is to be told about Odysseus. And the end of Book 8 is that noble ending, great passage. Why did they do that? What is behind this? The end of Book 8. It's a very interesting quote. It's from the land of the Phaeacians. Alcinous is the king of the Phaeacians, and he talks to Odysseus and he says, "Tell me why you should grieve so terribly